This week on the ADG podcast, we talk sports, we get into the coronavirus, we have the top five, and brand new music this week.
The only thing that's different is Martin Lawrence's face is fatter. Hold up, Mike. I gotta catch my breath, Mike. I do like chicken sandwiches. Well, who else would you have on the cover of Playboy these days, right? See if you can polish this term. I'm trying to be positive here, Jake.
Okay.
Jake is also available for anniversaries and birthday parties.
I thought you were gonna tell me treat him like cats and sprayed him with a water bottle.
No.
Not enough money behind this podcast to get him on here. Because it's not the kids' fault they're shitheads. It's not. It's the parents' fault. The parents are shitheads too. Why are you talking shit? Have you won anything? No, then shut the fuck up. Wait, nobody ever said there was a plot to Rambo. Delete your account, go back to bed, cry for a couple of days, and reflect on what you're actually going to do with your life.
Welcome, everyone, to a brand new edition of the ADG podcast. I'm Darren.
And I'm Jacob, drinking a coffee because I need one.
Jacob, who has been in quarantine for the past couple weeks, has.
And the way it looks, I might be in quarantine the next couple of weeks if this shit continues. What
this
the hell?
Is absolutely crazy. Well, let's get into it. Obviously, we're going to be talking a lot of stuff. Obviously, we'll be talking about COVID-19, which has just been announced as a pandemic worldwide. So we'll be talking about that. But let's get into sports. And obviously, if you follow our Facebook page, I just shared a photo with some information that the NCAA March Madness tournament is going to be playing without fans in the stands for the first time ever. It'll just be the teams, their authorized personnel, and like immediate family are only allowed to be in the arena, which is going to be a huge.
It's a Pistons game basically.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be worse than a Pistons game.
I don't know.
It might
be like 1,000 people.
Well, max. It will be better than the Pistons game because at least in college they got a lot more talent on the floor than the Pistons.
Wow, and I didn't even say that. That's good. Nice.
That's a good one. Thank you. So it just came down that NCAA's biggest cash cow of the year. They won't be making as much money until something major happens. But no fans, no bands.
They have the TV deal. They'll be okay.
Yeah, okay, but Jake, you're just gonna be like piping in like are like color commentators and play-by-play guys allowed to be in there to call?
I hope so. I'll call it myself.
Or it's just gonna be a silent feed of a ball just being bounced.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be like, watch this, Darren. The State got bounced in the first round.
Yeah, but you feel bad for guys.
Little Tennessee State knocked them out again.
Well, there you go. But you feel bad for players like Cassius Winston of Michigan State and Xavier Simpson for Michigan. You know, with their last kick at the can at a national championship, playing in front of nobody. You know, and I know athletes. You know, it doesn't matter what sport you play in. You get an extra. You get a boost from the crowd cheering. You know, you want to be
obviously you want that crowd that pumps you up.
Yeah, you want to be you want to play your best in front of a sold out crowd. You know, you know, show off your talents. So it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be an absolute intriguing sight to see. You notice a lot. I noticed it today. Like the morning talk shows, the Good Morning America and The View had no audience, had no studio audience in there.
Nobody watches The View. They're all paid to be there, but fuck that. Anyway, but you're right. The crowds are smaller, and all the other sports are doing the same thing. Mariners out there in Seattle cut their first 7 games, home games out. They're not doing that. You have Ohio banning, I think, any crowd size above 500. So it's going to be interesting because the NHL is doing something similar, aren't they?
Well, yeah, the NHL, I saw a report that the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to be playing without any fans in stands, just authorized personnel and accredited media are going to be the only people there in attendance. I believe they have their game tomorrow, so it's really bizarre how quickly this thing spread and what people are trying to do to to take the proper precautions, I guess.
Well, and then it's the sporting world, obviously. Like we cover sports here, and the sports is always big crowds, so they have to react.
Right. And I know we've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks with the draft coming up in the NFL. Yes. Is that going to be infected with it? I know that they plan to have it in Las Vegas this year. Mm-hmm. Prime time. Major money for the networks and the league. Having this draft. Is it going to be moved to somewhere else, or they're just going to scale it back so much where it's going to be just like calling players up on the phone? It's like, yeah, we're drafting you first overall. Congratulations.
It's April 23rd.
Yeah.
So we have a month and a half. It could be a lot worse, or it could be better.
It could, yeah. We don't know. Obviously, the NFL hasn't made any decisions, but we're just they're probably in a wait and see a holding pattern. But it was weird today, Jake. I was watching. You would be proud of me. I was watching some Champions League soccer.
Oh, very nice. Was somebody pay you, or was it just like on at a restaurant you were at?
You know what? I've been busy for the last 6 days in a row, so I took today off.
I know.
I caught up with some stuff that I've been neglecting, and I had it on in the background. It was Liverpool versus Real something.
Oh.
They're playing in Liverpool, jam-packed crowds, in the stadium there, and I'm like, obviously it hasn't really.
I don't think those people will be missing any football games there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. They could be all they could all be affected. They'll just put on mask and whatever, and they'll still show up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's something like that. Like you see it in some sports just don't look the same without crowds and people in the stands.
You're right, because the XFL, the exact same thing. This weekend games they cancel the crowds
in Seattle.
But again, it's XFL, so it should be interesting.
But what? I put XFL on the same level as, you remember the movie The Replacements?
Yes.
It's that kind of football, right?
Yeah, but I like it. Truthfully, I do like it.
It's good, but it's not like must see TV.
Oh, that's fun. It's fun.
It's something to have on in the background. You don't really care who wins, right?
No, I haven't picked a team yet, which I might. Again, we're gonna have a contest to pick a team since the Lions
put out
suck.
A poll for everyone. Yeah. Yes. So obviously, in other sports news, Pistons, yes, they're still playing. They're playing in Philadelphia tonight. I'm curious to see that.
That's a loss.
If there's, of course it's gonna be a loss. It's gonna be interesting to see. They're showing a live shot of it now. Not too many fans there, but I don't know. Is it because it's just not a good game with Detroit in town, or are people just staying home because they're concerned about this COVID-19?
Both. I bet you it's both.
Both. But we have everything is news and sports right now has just been dominated by this coronavirus. So I like to say that the Leafs won last night 2-1, in front of a jam-packed crowd, but what's going to happen if it becomes worse? And then it's Stanley Cup playoff time and there's nobody there.
And the Leafs won't be there either.
No. Let's say Leafs make the team. The Leafs make the playoffs, but then there's no fans in the stands.
No.
This would be the ultimate year where they have the Stanley Cup final. The Leafs are finally in the Stanley Cup finals, and there's no fans in the stands.
So what do we have a better?
So then they say that
happening.
Then we can't say that. Oh, the Leafs. If do the Leafs win the cup, even though that no one is there to witness it? Did it really happen though? Yeah.
So everybody's hearing Darren fantasizing about something that won't happen.
I'm just saying, let me have this, please. Please, let me just have this.
Do you have the coronavirus? Are you hallucinating?
Maybe. I'm sure that's a side effect.
We need to get ourselves tested.
Yeah. Yesterday I was working the Westby Awards, local area sports awards that we do.
Yes.
We had Herman Moore there to.
Oh, nice.
He was a keynote speaker. Delivered a great speech talking about perseverance and never giving up, which great for the team that he used to play for, because they never given up being shit.
Yeah,
they never falter when it comes to that.
No, and, they find a way to lose.
He was presented with a Westby ring at the end of his presentation, and he said like, "Oh, I knew I'd finally get a ring one day." So,
that must have gotten a good laugh.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah, he got a good chuckle. So it's always good him talking about playing with Barry Sanders and how, and I believe one of the years he led the league, he led the team in touchdowns over Barry Sanders. So he's very proud of that. So that's
he was a good wide receiver. So
he was definitely one of the greats that played for the Detroit Lions. But obviously you talk about Detroit Lions all-time great wide receivers. Calvin Johnson, number 1, and then Herman Moore, I think, slides into number 2. Yeah. Followed by Johnny Morton. Yeah. Who didn't love Johnny Morton?
Oh shit. Okay.
Golden Tate.
No.
No?
He was good.
Where would you rank Golden Tate at all-time Lions wide receiver?
Now the thing is, I would like him, rank him somewhere if he stayed a little bit longer. I understand they had to trade him. Yeah. Yeah. I liked Golden Tate as a third option slot receiver, but I don't know. Wasn't here long enough to make that.
He was here a few years. He's been here. He was here about 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah. Like Marvin Jones better. Kenny Golladay had a bigger impact so far.
Yeah.
Look at they're going back and forth on most touchdowns last year. Come on.
Right. Well, until Marvin Jones got hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's it's interesting to see what happens with everything. I'm looking at the top news stories in the sports, and they're talking about the NCAA tournament Final Four, where they usually have it in a stadium, a big like Cowboy Stadium. They might be looking for a downsized venue. If
high school,
if there's going to be no fans.
No, might as well.
Why do you need to be in a football stadium?
Exactly. Right? Throw in some cameras, put it in a high school.
Put it in a high school gym. Here you go. You're college kids. They're used to playing in small, intimate areas.
Exactly. Why not?
That's all good. But yeah, that's it for sports there, Jake.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna set the tone and make it even worse, because I'm gonna get into the details of the coronavirus.
All right.
Did this once a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're doing this again. Now the coronavirus, we all obviously heard about it. This isn't anything new now. Mm-hmm. And like you guys heard Darren say, that the World Health Organization just characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic. Mm-hmm. So here's some details from that briefing today. They assessed the outbreak around the clock, obviously, because that's what they do. They assessed it as a pandemic, and they don't want to use that lightly or carelessly. It's basically describing a situation that they've never seen a pandemic sparked by coronavirus before. This is the first pandemic caused by coronavirus. And they've never seen before a pandemic that can be controlled at the same time. So that's harsh words from World Health Organization, that this isn't as light as they thought it was. Now, let's get into the details of it, because the World Health Organization gave us that, but out of all the things that people die of every year, don't forget, people make a big deal that, this is just a 2% of the infected die, mostly people that are sick already, all that stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, listen, but this is on top, above and beyond the average number of deaths worldwide. Okay, so this isn't like, no, this is just part of something. No, this is on top of the average deaths of whatever happening in the world. So there's these extra deaths now just because of this virus, and I'm gonna give you some numbers. I know that numbers are boring, but right now there are, and this is up to date as of right now, which is, what's today, Wednesday, March 11th, 7 p.m. as of recording this podcast. There are 118,381 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the world. Out of that, 4,292 deaths in 114 countries. Okay? Now, I have numbers broken out by country, but I'm not going to bore you with that. You can look at that up yourself. But yeah, it's a situation now. If you think it's just another flu, cool. That's up to you. But I don't think I've seen something that spreads this quickly around the world, even with a low and a specific death number like this has, ever. Like, yeah, the flu spreads, but not this quickly. Not this quickly around the world. So there's some numbers for you to look at. Now, also, as of a few hours ago, 3 hours ago, Darren, you might be interested in this. Mm-hmm. Italy confirms almost 200 deaths in the last 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Virus. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and we know that entire country's
is pretty much on lockdown.
Yeah. So they have confirmed 12,462 cases just in Italy. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Speaking of Italy, one of the one of the Italian soccer players plays for Juventus, is tested positive for COVID-19. Yeah.
Well, Italy is the second highest country behind China, which has almost 81,000 cases. China has, that's how much they have. Italy has over 10,000. Iran.
Yeah. Now, we're not saying that they have cases, yes, but not all of them are going to lead to death.
No. Again,
they obviously don't know how serious they are. It could be very minor cases or
just tested positive for it.
Yeah.
Iran has 8,042. So those are your top three. Yeah. Again, it's spreading. America has 696 cases so far tested positive, and Canada has 93.
Wow. Oh, okay.
So, again, this is comparing it to like last week when it wasn't even close to these numbers. The spread of it is quite large. So what are we doing in Canada? Well, Canada just released a little note, obviously on it. Everywhere, every business out there with people who travel, obviously has released I'm sure everybody who works their company released a note on how to deal with it, washing your hands and all the other interesting stuff you have to do. Keep yourself clean. They should be doing anytime anyway. And we've had to show you should wash your hands in the bathroom every time.
Right.
So, yeah, they release stuff. You guys can go, I'm sure, and find it. Government website. But there's a lot of misconceptions and then fear mongering in the media too. So be careful with what you read. We're giving you the facts here. We're giving you only confirmed numbers from the World Health Organization. Take it, leave it. There's some info for you. But that's a lot of numbers, Darren.
That is a lot. And especially you say compared to last week, how the numbers increased. Now, if you're a betting man, like, are you expecting those numbers to increase even more next week, or do you see them like leveling off or slowly reducing?
Looking at what happens as an example in two examples. One, Italy, how quickly it spread. Because again, if you guys don't know, for those who don't know geography, I'm going to help you. Italy is a very dense country. Okay, it has a lot of people in it. It's not that big size-wise. Again, it's not just like any country in Europe. Lots of people, small area. Things spread quickly. That's one thing. See how quickly it spreads. Now the same thing happened in the U.S. You had a doctor in New York, spread it to a whole bunch of people. Now you have an entire town quarantined, in quarantine. So again, looks like this thing can spread quickly. So if it gets contained, maybe it can level off. But from what I'm seeing right now, it's the way it's passed from person to person. I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. I'm not saying it's gonna be like years, but at least a few more weeks, maybe a month. Unfortunately.
Right. It's it's quite crazy how like fast it can go, because like you said, you don't know who these people have been in contact with, and then
exactly.
But there were a couple that came off a cruise ship that lived in the Windsor area. They decided to self quarantine, which was good on their part. But like, was it like right away, or did they go to the grocery store first and load up on supplies before they self quarantine?
Darren, that is the best question to ask right there.
Yeah.
Because how many people did you come in contact with by the time you get home and self quarantine?
Exactly.
Were you wearing a mask? Did you protect everybody from it? That's the questions we need to be asking. Because if you walk by 10 people in Windsor, shit, those 10 people turn around and infect another 10, and then this is going to happen. Just like Italy, people will get infected, and we don't want that. We want everybody to be safe, and especially looking out for the elderly and the young. Yeah. So we're most subject to this type of disease. And
you said that there's a lot of false information out there that people, like, the media fear mongers is at all-time high right now. And you look at that, and I think it's just, you could say wash your hands constantly, but not just like washing your hands, but like, if you don't feel good, or if you feel like you have a bit of a cough, or like you're coughing constantly, don't go out. Just stay inside. There's no need for you to venture outside. And I know that people have to work, or they don't have enough sick days to use it up on something that just could be a common cough or a common cold, right? But these days you really can't tell.
Right. And 100% right. You and I had this conversation when I was sick a month ago, and it's the same thing. I deal with people every day, and it's just what I do. And if you come to work sick, that affects everybody around you. Right. Okay, and that's what happened in my case. I did have the flu and then bronchitis and everything else. So I had about I just recovered. So that's about a month recovery time. And that's just because one person decided not to go to the doctor. They decided to come to work with whatever they had and spread it to everybody else. And I got the worst of it. So that's just an example. What if it was COVID-19, the way it spreads? That one person would have had, hundreds of people infected, because that's just how our plant works. It's just very it's crowded, and it would have been even more because it's way more contagious, right? So that could have been even worse. And then again, you don't know if you're infected for a little bit, so as you go, you infect more people.
Exactly.
That's how this thing survives. And again, you have to think about, if you do get infected, if you do have something like this, you think you have it, self quarantine. Pick a room with a bathroom, pick a place. And this is the only time, if there's any advice, this is the only time you should actually wear a mask. Don't wear a mask if you're not sick.
Yeah.
Wear a mask if you are sick.
If you're not sick, you don't need a mask, because there are people that do need masks like that.
It's not going to protect you if you're not sick.
It won't do nothing for you if you're not sick. Exactly. There's people that like hoard masks and toilet paper and everything. They're hand sanitizer and everything. Like the end of days or the beginning of the zombie apocalypse.
Right, and it's unless you're self quarantining, none of that's gonna help.
Yeah. So I just saw on Twitter that Mike Sullivan tweeted out from 97.1 Ticket
yep.
that he said that he was connected with someone from the PGA Tour, saying that there's a good chance that the PGA Championship, which is on May 14th, may be played in front of no fans
that'll be interesting.
So,
well, we'll see how far this goes, right down the line.
Exactly,
it changes day by day.
There's gonna be obviously the big one today was March Madness not having any fans, and then the next one would have to be the Olympics coming up.
Oh, I don't think that's happening.
I don't think that's happening.
It's Beijing, either. China. That's not happening.
No. Well, it's in Tokyo.
Tokyo, sorry, it's not happening. No way.
I was gonna say if the Olympics were in China, that's a guaranteed no.
No, but Japan.
Yeah, Japan
it's right there.
Yeah.
And actually, right now, let me just tell you, Japan has how many cases here? They have quite a few here. Japan has 568 confirmed coronavirus cases, so almost as much as the U.S. in a tiny island country condensed into like a sardine can. So, they're smart people. I'm sure they can figure it out, but that's a lot.
Right. Just one more sports / Corona news that the NBA is contemplating moving games to cities that have not yet been affected by the coronavirus.
Oh, sure, and bring it with you.
Well,
people travel.
Well, just the team. I'm saying,
Yeah, staff and everybody else.
Well, yeah,
I don't know if I'd encourage a movement between cities. This is what you don't want to do.
There was
don't
one
travel.
that. Oh, Jake, you're gonna love this. The guy that plays for the Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert. He yesterday he was kind of making fun about the whole coronavirus. He was touching all the reporters' mics and recorders, and today he's unavailable due to sickness.
That's hilarious.
I was gonna say, so it's definitely nothing to joke about, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
And he because I know that LeBron James got in slack for saying that he wouldn't play if there was no fans in the stands, but then he changed his tune after knowing what kind of how bad it made him look.
It's hilarious.
It's a doozy. That's gonna happen.
Yep, exactly.
But those are great numbers.
There we go.
Alarming numbers. I know that the American president is going to address the nation tonight. I don't know what he's going to say.
I don't know.
But,
Well, if we had a prime minister that actually gave a shit, we'd be more in touch with what is happening locally.
But compared
plan.
But compared to the U.S., we're not looking too bad. 93
cases? No. Yeah. That's not too bad. But I would like some involvement of, I don't know, organizing hospitals, making sure, there's specific areas and, quarantine, just in case you need to be ready. If it's doesn't happen, cool. At least you're ready. Now you know what a protocol for if something else happens one day. It's a good learning experience, if anything. But there you go. Coronavirus, COVID-19 on the ADG podcast. We just covered some latest info.
What a way to start the decade, huh?
I know, right? Holy crap.
COVID-19 is wiping out people left, right, and center.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And we focus on it because it's just how effective it is in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. So, again, we're not panicking. We're just sharing information.
We're just telling our listeners, just take the proper precautions when you venture outside. Just be, what you touch, and try not to touch your face that often, because don't
touch other strange people.
Like me, I've been highly using the fist bump. That's my go-to these days. Or if I really don't know you, I'll give you a nice little elbow bump. That's always fun.
I just tell them I'm sick and don't touch me. No. That's worked really well, actually.
Because Jake is such a friendly person. Right? Yeah.
Hey, I'm sick. Sorry. Walk right by you.
I'm grumpier than usual today, guys. Yeah.
Anyways,
sorry, go ahead, Jake.
It's a good segue to a top 5.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna love this one. Jake has the top 5 this week. I know he's gonna deliver.
I'm gonna tie this into exactly what we're talking about because
top 5 deadliest diseases.
Exactly.
Is it?
That's right. It is.
Oh,
because you know what? We make a big deal about
way
this.
Way to keep the mood down.
Hey, you know what? We have to have those episodes after last week where we just killed it because we had an insanely amazing episode.
My God. Yeah, that was.
We're having more down to earth episodes.
We should call Sadie Katz, see how she's coping with the coronavirus. What is she doing to take precautions?
Check out her Instagram, guys, and then tell her you heard about her on the HG podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So, top 5 dangerous diseases in the world.
Uh-huh.
So let's start at number 5. Tuberculosis, TB. This is a contagious disease caused by bacteria, which mainly infects the lungs and also later affects the organs as well. Symptoms of this disease involve fever, sweating, fatigue, and weight loss. I wish any disease affected my weight loss.
I was going to say, the weight loss is not... I'm good. When
I don't
have to worry about that.
Exactly. This may show up right away or in some cases takes years. In the year 2011, there was a death toll of 1.4 million people due to this disease. So again, prevention is done on vaccinating infants who are mostly at risk of being exposed and also those who are with TB. So there is a vaccine for it that needs to be done, but that's still a lot of people die because of TB. Number 4. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's another thing about parents, the new age parents that don't believe in getting their child vaccinated.
That's right? Another fucking show. I swear.
Jake's already fired up.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, fuck that. You started it.
I just brought it up. I was hearing that how in this day and age, how is that a thing? How is that even possible?
We kind of killed measles, but let's not vaccinate this kid.
Measles, super measles could come back.
Oh no, just some kids from other countries come unvaccinated. They might be carrying the measles, and it's like, oh my god, my kid doesn't have the vaccine. Now it's sick. I'm not very smart as a parent. Anyway, number 4, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD. Affects the lungs, which make the person very hard to breathe. This disease can form 2 forms as chronic bronchitis, so long-term coughing, and it destroys the lungs. This is basically caused by smoking, and killing almost 3.5 million people every year, and it's considered to be one of the most deadly diseases.
I wonder if that caused by smoking, but does that also involve those who vape?
That's something new. I'm sure that'll one day take it into effect. But vaping has been so new, only lasts 5-10 years.
Yeah,
not enough data on that.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Yeah, no. You're right. It's vaping is so new that you just don't know the effects of it.
Right.
Plus, is it vaping powder from China? Because I wouldn't want that.
No, I think that's made.
Is it directly from Wuhan?
No.
Oh. Okay. Number 3. HIV or AIDS. So it's also known as human immunodeficiency virus. Weakens the stamina and immunity of the person to such an extent that they cannot fight simple diseases like the cold. So it kills the T cells in the body. So that's what happens. About 1.7 million lives a year are taken by the HIV/AIDS virus.
Noticeable, famous people who died of AIDS. Obviously, Freddie Mercury. Queen.
Yes.
It just it's a crazy. Obviously, there's been so much research done about it, and movies based on famous people who have AIDS or who have continued to live their lives having this.
And there are some actually brand new medicines coming out to benefit and not cure, but make things easier now.
Treat.
There's some brand new stuff that just treat. To treat. So much better stuff coming out right now. that's out there.
You heard of people that would take like an AIDS cocktail.
Right.
It's just a whole.
I think it's way more simplified now, and there's a lot more helpful stuff out there, so that helps. All right, number 2. This is an interesting one. It's Ebola. So it was discovered in 1976 in northern Congo. For those who didn't know, there you go. So it kills, according to World Health Organization, about 1,200 people die a year from it. So that's something. That's a lot. And Ebola is insanely contagious. So that's scary, because if you get Ebola, it's insane.
And I remember when the Ebola outbreak happened a few years back, and everyone was all on guard when it comes to Ebola.
Yes.
And I saw an interesting tweet that every year, the last 4 or 5 times there was a presidential election, there was a major a virus or
yes, every 2 years
something like that happened. I just think it's weird. It's just that trend continues. I don't know. So
it does.
We'll see in 2024 if there's going to be something else.
2022. That's the next.
Well,
it's every 2 years.
Next election,
that's
right?
2022 is going to be the House in the U.S. and Senate.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, okay. Number 1, and surprisingly, this is not a virus or anything else like that. This is ischemic heart disease, which is a heart disease that occurs when the heart does not receive ample supply of blood on account of blocking the arteries. And if it's left unnoticed, causes heart failures leading to death. Risk factors are high blood pressure and diabetes. Almost 7 million people die every year due to this disease. Now, it's easily curable with exercise, avoiding smoking, eating healthy food, and getting regular screenings. So this all comes from eating habits and lifestyle choices.
That's it.
And it's the number 1 killer in the world. So there you go.
All right.
Which makes sense. Top 5. There you go.
That's it. A nice positive top 5 from Jake. Thank you.
And we're done. I'm kidding.
And we're done. So Jake, let's talk brand new movie trailer that came out. You picked this one this week. It's from the legendary Tom Hanks, called Greyhound.
Right. So I'm gonna tell you about it. I just have to find the write-up for it because I deleted it.
Okay. Just so you know, this is Tom Hanks on a ship. So think Captain Phillips, but war. War.
Yeah.
This is during World War II.
Exactly, and it's based on true events. It's early in World War II, an inexperienced U.S. Navy captain, played by Tom Hanks, must lead an Allied convoy being stalked by Nazi U-boat wolf packs. So if anybody knows anything about World War II, Americans had to get to the UK, to England, to help resupply the troops, bring boats over, bring ammo, bring everything else over because of World War II. And what happened is Nazis had U-boats patrolling the Atlantic Ocean. They patrolled in groups, also called wolf packs, and they would find these convoys and take them out. And this is the movie based on it. And what do you think of the trailer, Darren?
I thought it was really good. I didn't know too much about the story, but the trailer looked great. A lot of action, a lot of intense, dramatic moments. The screenplay, Tom Hanks also did the screenplay, so that's always good to see. An actor really invests himself in a project.
All right, good. Yeah, I like war movies to start with. Not too crazy about war on the water and ships and stuff, but the action scenes in the trailer, you really pulled you in, especially like when the U-boats show up out of the water, and then all the fighting scenes. I like the way it was done. You can kind of see it CGI, but it's really well done. You know what? I might want to go see this. See this movie. Nobody's gonna see it with me, but I'm definitely gonna watch this thing because it looked really good. I would definitely give it like a 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5. You see, like you and me, we're usually about the same, either between 3.5 and 4 when it comes. I don't think we've given out a 5 out of 5 yet.
Yes, we had one. So, I gave out a 5 on the new Ghostbusters movie trailer.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm sticking by
it. I'm sticking by it. Yeah, I like it. I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5. It looks good. Tom Hanks always delivers when it comes to these types of movies. And obviously true stories, you know, to me, like a movie based on true stories are like the best movies. Like don't get me wrong, you know, fiction stories, some of them can be good. But yeah, it's it looks very interesting. It's definitely worth to check out. I don't know if it's gonna be a in theater kind of check out, but most likely wait for Netflix kind of check out.
The way it's going, I'm probably not going.
I was gonna say I don't want to go to a theater anytime soon
to watch any of this,
unless it's like either a late show or like a afternoon show where nobody's there.
Yeah, not happening.
No, sorry.
There you go. So there's our trailer review. You know what? I have some music for us today.
Oh, nice.
And music today is something different. I have an artist here today from the San Francisco Bay Area. And it's a folk pop artist named Ella Harp. And her new single is Screaming Into the Void. And I know I sent it to you earlier, but it's a totally different sound because she uses an actual harp, from what I can tell, to play, which is really cool. And the sound of it is totally different of even this song that we're going to play, Screaming Into the Void, is something that you probably don't hear on the radio every day. And this is what we do. We play independent artists here on the ADG podcast. And this week, we're going to feature Ella Harp and her brand new single. And again, if you guys like it, let us know on our Facebook page or Instagram. We are going to share the artist info like we always do. So let us know if you like it. I liked it. That's why I wanted to play it. I picked it out of the stuff we get to feature. And it sounds good. It has great reviews. And she does use a harp in her music. It makes sense. She plays it very well. So here it is. Screaming Into the Void. Ella Harp.
Dream
So there you go, Ella Harp. That was Screaming Into the Void on the ADG podcast. Let us know what you think. Give us some feedback and check her out everywhere online. So, Darren.
Yes.
What's today? Today is
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay. So what's going on in this day in history?
Oh yeah.
If this week you actually had time to do some work.
Well, since you told me that if I'm doing it, it's like, oh yeah, I might as well look that up. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting.
Wow, so much prepared.
I know we're like the best when it comes to preparation for this. So obviously the week of this day of March 11th, Japan was struck by an earthquake and a tsunami, which happened on the coast of Honshu, Japan, causing devastating damage in that area. Famous people that were born on this day. You, Jake, being a soccer fan, you must know the name Didier Drogba, right?
Yeah, Drogba.
There you go. Yes, so he was born on this day. American musician Bobby McFerrin was born on this day, along with United States Supreme Court Justice Anton Scalia, and a very famous Australian-born American publisher Rupert Murdoch was born on this day back in 1931. Obviously, created the Fox network, and many other things. He owned multiple newspapers from the time, from back in the day. Still is a very wealthy man. Here we go. Here's a nice little interesting fact that happened today. William Howard Taft was the first U.S. president to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. So nice little interesting fact. There's not so much like really noteworthy things that happened today back in the day. 1941, the U.S. Congress passed the Lend-Lease Act. So, you know what the Lend-Lease Act is? You're welcome. There you go. That's what happened today. This is good. This wasn't too long ago. This is actually, I'm sure you remember this. Back in 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev was selected as the new leader of the Soviet Union.
Okay, well there we go. All right, see. It's a calm show this week. That's what it's all about.
We apologize if we don't have all the positive, happy news that we normally do, but it depends on the day that we record this podcast.
Depends on what happens out in the world.
Exactly. So there you go. So that's all your information on this day, March 11th, 2020.
Awesome. And I'd like to say that it's going to get better for the rest of the show, but unfortunately, the next segment is Garbage Person of the Week. So we go from a bunch of viruses out in the world to a human virus, which is an actual person. So today, Garbage Person of the Week, and this is a piece of shit person, and he was in the news today. And Harvey Weinstein got sentenced to 23 years in prison for rape accusations, allegedly. Again, he got sentenced, but
he's been accused. He's been accused and convicted.
23 years in prison as of today. So, fuck this guy. Because I don't think that's even enough. If he makes it 23 years in prison.
But, is anyone really surprised about it? No. Because look at the guy, from when he was, the most powerful guy. He was this big, crass, guy. He looked like a monster himself. So, yeah.
Right. Now, what is worse now for this piece of shit? It's bad for him, which is good for us because this piece of shit goes to jail, and the way he looks, he deserves it. Even though he still denies all that, but there must have been enough evidence to actually give him the sentence, because he sounds like a total piece of shit from everything we've heard. Now, what looks even worse is all those celebrities like Oprah, Michelle Obama, and everybody else in Hollywood who was hugging this guy in pictures. All the female celebrities who are buddies. The pictures are out there. The video's out there. He's awesome. He's this. He's that. When he's been doing this for years, you know what? That looks back on them. No one should ever forget that either. So, because this was going on, and don't tell me nobody knew. Do not tell me nobody knew.
I'm sure they knew. They either chose not to believe it, or just
chose not to say anything,
or just kept to say it. To keep everything quiet.
Right, but which makes it just as bad.
Sure, absolutely
makes it just as bad.
But
so makes it an accomplice, in my opinion.
but for him going down the way he did, obviously that started with him, and then Charlie Rose, the Matt Lauers, everything. It all came tumbling down for all those guys. Good,
and this piece of shit's going away for 23 years, probably the rest of his life. Good, see ya. Garbage Person of the Week, Harvey Weinstein. There you go. There's an interesting near finish to our very solemn show this week. So there you go, Darren. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Podcast. Yeah.
Well done.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys want to find us, we're everywhere at the ADG Podcast, Facebook ADG Podcast. Email us, adgpodcast@gmail.com with any comments, suggestions. You want to play if you want us to play your music, email us there with a short bio and an MP3. If you guys want to follow us on Instagram, which has blown up, we have a whole bunch more followers. Thank you for following us there. Facebook, again, a whole bunch of new followers this week. Both of those socials have been super, super up in follows. And Twitter, as usual, we love you at ADG Podcast. Thank you for all those new follows on Twitter. And yeah, check out all the socials. And Spotify. We now promote a little bit more Spotify than iTunes. That's just people want. So check us out on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Sorry, and Spotify and everywhere else you guys listen to podcasts, because we're everywhere.
Everywhere, worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. And there you go. That's all I got.
Awesome.
Yep.
Once again, Jake, great job as always.
You too, sir.
Thank you, sir. So make sure to tune in next week. We'll have a brand new episode of the ADG Podcast, talking more positive stories, hopefully next week.
Hopefully, maybe a guest or two. You never know.
Surprise. If not, we'll do another update on the coronavirus.
Oh yeah, we'll do our best to keep you guys entertained.
See how far it spreads. Oh, just one more side note that I was going to mention in sports that today, of all days, in Michigan, it is now legal to bet on single game sports.
Sweet.
Sports betting in Michigan. So at MGM, they have their sports book open. You can go make your bets on those beautiful NCAA March Madness games, which nobody's going to be watching in person, at least. But March Madness, obviously, for bettors and gamblers, this is like their Christmas.
Exactly. That's a good opportunity. Michigan finally did the right thing.
There you go.
It's not mobile yet, but if you get downtown and get to the casino, there you go. You can start betting.
Absolutely. Now we need Ontario to get on board.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Now, for those that are not gambling, because if you're gambling, you go down there and do that. And if you are quarantined because of the COVID-19 virus, catch up on all the ADG podcast episodes. We are in season 3. Whole bunch of episodes, a bunch of great episodes to catch up on. And we'll keep you entertained as much as we can. And we'll see what happens next week. It should be fun.
Should be great times.
That's right. So for the ADG Podcast, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And we are ADG.